Okay, the next sutta is number 7, Vatthupama Sutta, simile of the cloth. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There he addressed the monks thus, "Monks, noble sir," they replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, suppose a cloth were defiled and stained, and a dyer dipped it in some dye or other, whether blue or yellow or red or pink. It would look poorly dyed and impure in color. Why is that? Because of the impurity of the cloth. So too, when the mind is defiled, an unhappy destination may be expected. Monks, suppose a cloth were pure and bright, and a dyer dipped it in some dye or other, whether blue or yellow or red or pink. It would look well dyed and pure in color. Why is that? Because of the purity of the cloth. So too, when the mind is undefiled, a happy destination may be expected. But monks, are the imperfections that defile the mind. Covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind. These defilements of the mind are called chittasa upakilesa. Kilesa means defilements. Ill will, anger, revenge, contempt, a domineering attitude, envy, avarice, deceit, fraud, obstinacy, presumption, conceit, arrogance, vanity, negligence are imperfections that defile the mind. Knowing that covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind, a monk abandons it. Knowing that ill will is an imperfection that defiles the mind, a monk abandons it. Similarly, for the other imperfections, the monk abandons. When a monk has known that covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind and has abandoned it, when a monk has known that ill will, etc., is an imperfection that defiles the mind and has abandoned it, he acquires perfect confidence in the Buddha thus. The Blessed One is accomplished, fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. He acquires perfect confidence in the Dhamma thus. The Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One, visible here and now, immediately effective, inviting inspection, onward leading, to be experienced by the wise for themselves. He acquires perfect confidence in the Sangha thus. The Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is practicing the good way, practicing the straight way, practicing the true way, practicing the proper way. That is, the 4 pairs of persons, the 8 types of individuals. This Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is worthy of gifts, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offerings, worthy of reverential salutation, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. When he has given up, expelled, released, abandoned and relinquished the imperfections of the mind in part, he considers thus, I am possessed of perfect confidence in the Buddha, and he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. When he is glad, delight is born in him. In one who is delighted, the body becomes tranquil. One whose body is tranquil feels pleasure. In one who feels pleasure or happiness, the mind becomes concentrated. He considers thus, I am possessed of perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. When he is glad, the mind becomes concentrated. He considers thus, I am possessed of perfect confidence in the Sangha, and he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. When he is glad, the mind becomes concentrated. He considers thus, the imperfections of the mind in part have been given up, expelled, released, abandoned and relinquished by me. And he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. When he is glad, delight is born in him. In one who is delighted, the body becomes tranquil. One whose body is tranquil feels pleasure or happiness. In one who feels pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. Monks, if a monk of such virtue, such a state of concentration and such wisdom, eats alms food consisting of choice hill rice along with various sauces and curries, even that will be no obstacle for him. Just as a cloth that is defiled and stained becomes pure and bright with the help of clear water, or just as gold becomes pure and bright with the help of furnace. So too, if a monk of such virtue eats alms food, that will be no obstacle for him. Stop here for a moment. This monk, he has virtue, he has concentration, and he has wisdom. So if he eats alms food, the choicest alms food, the best alms food, there is no obstacle for him in the sense that he is not attached to it. It doesn't bring up defilements for him. He abides pervading 1/4 with a mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above, below, around, and everywhere. And to all as to himself, he abides pervading an all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. He abides pervading 1/4 with a mind imbued with compassion, with a mind imbued with joy, with a mind imbued with equanimity. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth quarter. So above, below, around, and everywhere. And to all as to himself, he abides pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with equanimity, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. He understands thus, there is this, there is the inferior, there is the superior, and beyond there is an escape from this whole field of perception. When he knows and sees thus, his mind is liberated from the asava of sensual desire, from the asava of being, and from the asava of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge, it is liberated. He understands birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. Monks, this monk is called one bathed with the inner bathing. Now on that occasion, the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadvaja was sitting not far from the Blessed One. Then he said to the Blessed One, but does Master Gotama go to the Bahuka river to bathe? And the Buddha said, why Brahmin go to the Bahuka river? What can the Bahuka river do? And he said, Master Gotama, the Bahuka river is held by many to give liberation. It is held by many to give merit, and many wash away their evil actions in the Bahuka river. Then the Blessed One addressed the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadvaja in stanzas. Bahuka and Adikaka, Gaya and Sundarika too, Bayaga and Sarasati, and the stream Bahumati. A fool may there forever bathe, yet will not purify dark deeds. What can the Sundarika bring to pass? What the Bayaga, what the Bahuka? They cannot purify an evildoer, a man who has done cruel and brutal deeds. One pure in heart has evermore the feast of spring, the holy day. One fair in act, one pure in heart, brings his virtue to perfection. It is here, Brahmin, that you should bathe, to make yourself a refuge for all beings. And if you speak no falsehood, nor work harm for living beings, nor take what is offered not, with faith and free from avarice, what need for you to go to Gaya? For any well will be your Gaya. When this was said, the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadvaja said, Magnificent Master Gotama, magnificent Master Gotama. Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overthrown, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go to Master Gotama for refuge, and to the Dhamma, and to the Bhikkhu Sangha. I will receive the going forth under Master Gotama. I will receive the full admission. And the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadvaja received the going forth under the Blessed One, and he received the full admission. And soon, not long after his full admission, dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent and resolute, the Venerable Bharadvaja, by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, here and now entered upon and abided in that supreme goal of the holy life, for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth, from the home life into homelessness. He directly knew birth is destroyed. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. And the Venerable Bharadvaja became one of the Arahant. So you see here, the Buddha gives this simile about the cloth. This simile of the cloth, if you have a dirty cloth and you want to dye it to change its color, if the cloth already has some color, and has oil and has stains and all that, you dip it in that dye, it cannot soak that dye because the cloth is dirty. But if your cloth is pure and white and clean, and when you soak it in the dye, it absorbs all that color you want it to. So that is a simile for our mind. And our mind, There's a lot of defilements, especially what is called the 5 hindrances. The Buddha says the 5 hindrances are the cause for our mind being blur. No wisdom, sensual desire, ill will or anger, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, and doubt. These 5 things. So when we listen to the Dhamma with a lot of these hindrances in us, we cannot absorb, just like the cloth cannot absorb the dye. The Dhamma doesn't go through. But if we meditate and our mind becomes concentrated, we get rid of these kilesas, these hindrances, then when you listen to the Dhamma, we can absorb easily. That's why this simile of the cloth is very appropriate. Then the Buddha says that a monk has a lot of imperfections, like just now we heard about blemish. And then after hearing the Dhamma, he abandons what the Buddha asks us to abandon. Buddha always asks us to abandon unwholesome states of mind. So when he abandons it, and then he realizes that he has improved, then he has faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Then when he has faith, then he is glad. And then when he is glad, then slowly delight arises. And then delight is followed by tranquility. And then a tranquil mind is a happy mind, and a happy mind easily becomes concentrated. Then here Buddha talks about pervading the entire world with loving kindness, compassion, joy and equanimity. These are the 4 Brahma Viharas that the Brahmins like to abide in. That's why the Buddha often talks about this. And then the Buddha said, since the Buddha implied that he is liberated, so the Brahmin thought, you must have gone to some river to get liberation. So the Buddha said, what can the river do for you? And then the Buddha said, it is by cultivating your mind you become liberated. So the bathing is not the external bathing, it's the internal bathing that is important, not the external show. A lot of people like to make a show outside. What's important is inside. Then after that, after listening to this, the Brahmin asked to go forth. To many of us Chinese, very surprising. This Indian man listened to the Dhamma a bit early, goes forth. Chinese man have to ask the wife for permission, have to ask the children for permission, have to ask the whole family for permission. Not for them. They are inspired immediately, can give up their family and go forth. And because of such faith, can become an Arahant later. Okay, going to the next sutta, number 8 now, hopefully you can finish. Wow, it's a long sutta. 20 minutes, let's see whether we can do it. Sallekha Sutta, effacement. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then when it was evening, the Venerable Mahachunda rose from meditation and went to the Blessed One. After paying homage to the Blessed One, he sat down at one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, various views arise in the world associated either with doctrines of herself or with doctrines about the world. Now does the abandoning and relinquishing of those views come about in a monk who is attending only to the beginning of his meditative training? And the Buddha said, Chunda, as to those various views that arise in the world associated either with doctrines of herself or with doctrines about the world, if the object in relation to which those views arise, which they underlie, and which they are exercised upon, is seen as it actually is with proper wisdom thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself, then the abandoning and relinquishing of those views comes about. Stop here for a moment. So here this monk is asking the Buddha that there is various views in the world. Can they be abandoned by a monk at the early stage of his practice, meditation, etc.? Then the Buddha says, those views that arise in the world, if the basis for them, the basis for those views, the object in relation to which those views arise, if you can see that this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself, then you can abandon those views. You see, when a person has a lot of views about the world, about himself and all that, it is because he has this, it is based on the view that I am or I exist. Once you have the concept or the notion I am or I exist, that means you have a self. And once you have a self, then you have a lot of views in relation of yourself with the world, views about yourself in relation to others and all that. So you have so many types of views. But you can see that this self that you assume exists, it's not I, it's not mine, it's not myself. Then only you can abandon those views. In other words, you can see no self, you can see the Dhamma. And the Buddha said, it is possible here, Chunda, that quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, some monk enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought directed and sustained, delight and pleasure born of seclusion. He might think, I am abiding in effacement, but it is not these attainments that are called effacement in the Blessed One's discipline. These are called pleasant abidings here and now in the Noble One's discipline. Stop here for a moment. This effacement means to get rid of something, to rub it off, to get rid of it. So when the Buddha says effacement, it means getting rid of unwholesome states. So the Buddha says when a monk attains the first jhana, that is not yet called getting rid of unwholesome states. That is just pleasant abiding, happy abiding, happy hour. It is possible here that with the stilling of thought directed and sustained, some monk enters upon and abides in the second jhana, which has self-confidence and singleness of mind, without thought directed and sustained, with delight and pleasure born of concentration. He might think, I am abiding in effacement, but these are called pleasant abidings here and now in the Noble One's discipline. Similarly, for the third jhana, the Buddha says that is not abiding in effacement, but abiding in pleasant abidings. And then with the fourth jhana also, the Buddha says that is not effacement. In the Noble One's discipline, they are called pleasant abidings. It is possible here that with the complete surmounting of perceptions of form, with the disappearance of perceptions of sensory impact, with non-attention to perceptions of diversity, aware that space is infinite, some monk enters upon and abides in the base of infinite space. He might think, thus, I am abiding in effacement, but it is not these attainments that are called effacement in the Noble One's discipline. These are called peaceful abidings in the Noble One's discipline. So here you see even the Arupa jhana, the first Arupa jhana, it is such a peaceful state. The Buddha says that is still not abiding in effacement. That is only peaceful abiding. And then similarly for the second Arupa jhana, base of consciousness, the base of infinite space, the Buddha also says that is abiding in effacement. And then the third one, the base of infinite consciousness, that also is not abiding in effacement, but only peaceful abiding. And then even the highest Arupa jhana, the base of the base of nothingness also is not base of nothingness, then base of neither perception or non-perception. All the Arupa jhanas, the Buddha says, are not called effacement. They are only peaceful abidings. Now Chunda, here effacement should be practiced by you. Others will be cruel. We shall not be cruel here. Effacement should be practiced here. Others will kill living beings. We shall abstain from killing living beings. Effacement should be practiced here. Others will take what is not given. We shall abstain from taking what is not given. Others will be uncelibate. We will be celibate here. Others will speak falsehood. We will abstain from false speech. Others will speak maliciously. We shall abstain from malicious speech. Others will speak harshly. We shall abstain from harsh speech. Others will gossip. We shall abstain from gossip. Others will be covetous, we shall be uncovetous. Others will have ill will, we shall be without ill will. Others will be of wrong view, we shall be of right view. Others will be of wrong intention or wrong thoughts, we shall be of right intention. Others will be of wrong speech, we shall be of right speech. Others will be of wrong actions, we will be of right actions. Others will be of wrong livelihood, we shall be of right livelihood. Others will be of wrong effort, we shall be of right effort. Others will be of wrong recollection, we shall be of right recollection. Others will be of wrong concentration, we shall be of right concentration. What we just went through was a 8 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. Others will be of wrong knowledge, we shall be of right knowledge. Others will be of wrong deliverance, we shall be of right deliverance or liberation. Others will be overcome by sloth and torpor, we shall be free from sloth and torpor. Others will be restless, we shall not be restless. Others will be doubters, we shall go beyond doubt. Others will be angry, we shall not be angry. Others will be revengeful, we shall not be revengeful. Others will be contemptuous, we shall not be contemptuous. Others will be domineering, we shall not be domineering. Others will be envious, we shall not be envious. Others will be avaricious, we shall not be avaricious. Others will be fraudulent, we shall not be fraudulent. Others will be deceitful, we shall not be deceitful. Others will be obstinate, we shall not be obstinate. Others will be arrogant, we shall not be arrogant. Others will be difficult to admonish, to advise, to teach. We shall be easy to admonish. Others will have bad friends, we shall have good friends. Others will be negligent, we shall be diligent. Others will be faithless, we shall have faith. Others will be shameless, we shall be shameful. Others who have no fear of wrongdoing, we shall be afraid of wrongdoing. Others will be of little learning, we shall be of great learning. Great learning means knows the Buddha's Dhamma, knows the Buddha's Suttas. Others will be lazy, we shall be energetic. Others will be unmindful, we shall be established in mindfulness. Here mindfulness probably refers to recollection, sati. Others will lack wisdom, we shall possess wisdom. Others will adhere to their own views and hold on to them tenaciously. We shall not adhere to our own views. So here the Buddha says effacement means getting rid of unwholesome states. It is not some meditative attainment. But meditative attainment helps very much. If you have meditative attainments, your mind is clear and strong, then you can see where are your faults, and you can have the strength of mind to do what should be done or not to do what should not be done. If you don't have a good meditation practice, it's harder. But anyway, you look from here, that effacement in the Buddha's teachings refers to getting rid of all unwholesome states of mind and practicing wholesome states of mind. The Buddha continues, Chunda, I say that even the inclination of mind towards wholesome states is of great benefit. So what should be said of bodily and verbal acts conforming to such a state of mind? So here the Buddha says, even thinking that you want to have wholesome states is beneficial already. And if you can act through your body and speech in a wholesome way, that is even more beneficial. Therefore, Chunda, mind should be inclined thus. Others will be cruel, we shall not be cruel. Mind should be inclined thus. Others will kill, we shall abstain from killing, etc., etc. Or the whole list like before. Chunda, suppose there were an uneven path and another even path by which to avoid, and suppose there were an uneven ford and another even ford by which to avoid. So too, a person given to cruelty has non-cruelty by which to avoid it. One given to killing living beings has abstention from killing living beings by which to avoid it. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, if a person has been practicing cruelty, he can change and practice non-cruelty to avoid cruelty. If he has been used to killing living beings, then he can practice non-killing as an alternative, and that will avoid killing. One given to taking what is not given has abstention from taking what is not given by which to avoid it. One given to uncelibacy has celibacy by which to avoid it. One given to false speech has abstention from false speech by which to avoid it. One given to malicious speech has abstention from malicious speech from which to avoid it. Malicious speech is speech motivated by anger. One given to harsh speech has abstention from harsh speech by which to avoid it. One given to gossip has abstention from gossip by which to avoid it. Similarly, for covetousness, ill will, wrong view, wrong thoughts, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong recollection, wrong concentration. All this, you have to practice the opposite to avoid all this. Similarly for all the others. Chunda, just as all unwholesome states lead downwards and all wholesome states lead upwards, so too a person given to cruelty has non-cruelty to lead him upwards. One given to killing has abstention from killing to lead him upwards. One given to taking what is not given, stealing, has abstention from taking what is not given to lead him upwards, etc. Similarly for all the other things that we went through just now, 44 of them. Chunda, that one who is himself sinking in the mud should pull out another who is sinking in the mud is impossible. That one who is not himself sinking in the mud should pull out another who is sinking in the mud is possible. That one who is himself untamed, undisciplined, with defilements unextinguished, should tame another, discipline him, and help extinguish his defilements is impossible. That one who is himself tamed, disciplined, with defilements extinguished, should tame another, discipline him, and help extinguish his defilements is possible. So too, a person given to cruelty has non-cruelty by which to extinguish it. One given to killing living beings has abstention from killing living beings by which to extinguish it. One given to taking what is not given has abstention from taking what is not given by which to extinguish it, etc. And similarly for all the other things here. So here you notice here the Buddha says, if a person is in the mud, he cannot help another person out of the mud. We have to get out of the mud before we can help another out of the mud. This is contrary to the Mahayana teaching of always trying to help others. So the Buddha says, you have to help yourself first before you think of helping others. Otherwise you are not in a position to help others. So Chunda, the way of effacement has been taught by me. The way of inclining the mind has been taught by me. The way of avoidance has been taught by me. The way leading upwards has been taught by me. And the way of extinguishing has been taught by me. What should be done for his disciples out of compassion by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them, that I have done for you, Chunda. There are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, Chunda, do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. That is what the Blessed One said. The Venerable Mahachunda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. I look at these words of the Buddha very carefully. Buddha says, there are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, do not delay, or you will regret it later. A lot of people, we always think we have time. You always think you have time. Then when your time is used up, then only you regret, I didn't have time. I've seen a few people come to the monastery, they also like that. They thought they had time. A few years ago, about 4 years ago, there was one, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. He came here one and only once to keep the 8 precepts. He stayed, I think, 2 weeks. And at that time, there were quite a number of people here, so he enjoyed staying here because there was a good company to joke with and all that. And he was a good cook, so everybody enjoyed his company because he was a good cook. But he didn't take this retreat here seriously. And so after 2 weeks, he left and he didn't come back. He didn't come back for, I think, 4 years. And I heard during these 4 years that he used to go mountain climbing with his friends, go to Gunung Asahan, Gunung this and Gunung that. He's to keep fit. And after 4 years, he came back to the monastery. When I saw him, I asked him, "What's wrong with you?" Because his face was dark like an Indian. So I asked him, "What's wrong with you?" Definitely something was wrong with him. His face was so dark. He said, "I have cancer, terminal cancer." And then he came all the way back to tell me that his greatest regret is never came back to the monastery. He said, "I didn't come back." He regretted very much. So after that he went back. And I think about 2 weeks later he passed away. So you see, when you have time, you think. When you don't have time, you think you have time. Nobody has extra time. Even if you make use of all the time that you have left now, it's still not enough. By the time you pass away, you would regret, I didn't start earlier. It's always like that. Another man, I give you an example, another man, I think about 2 years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, his good friend came here and stayed for a few days and went back. I was quite happy. And then this man, his wife also came here because the hometown happened to be nearby. So the wife came here and stayed for 3 days. Then went back also very inspired and told him very nice and all that. So he decided that he wants to come. So he came, supposed to stay 3 days, After 1 day he ran away. Found it a bit tough. 2 months later, I was surprised to hear he suddenly died. 2 months later. That man was only about 50 years old, where he expected that he would die. So, you see. A lot of people like that never expect that death will come so suddenly. So never think you have time. I always say, even you practice very hard now, you still don't have. One day when you die, you still think you don't have enough time. So okay, we stop here. Yeah, and even the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, I'm echoing what the Buddha said now. Meditate, Chunda, do not delay or else you will regret it later. Anything to comment or discuss?
We have discussion on Stupa. I didn't know what is the significance of the Stupa.
The Stupa was mentioned by the Buddha. The Buddha said there are 4 types of persons after they pass away and their remains are cremated. 4 types of persons are worthy to have their remains placed inside a stupa and venerated. One is a Samma Sambuddha, another one is a Pacceka Buddha, third one is an Arya, that means a 4th fruit or 3rd fruit or 2nd fruit or 1st fruit, Arya. So these are the 3 types of Arya. And then the 4th person is a universal monarch, a king who is so good that the whole world wants him to be the ruler. So he's a very virtuous person. So only these 4 types of persons are worthy of having their remains. The remains are called sarira. In Chinese we call 舍利者. 舍利者is nothing special, it's just bones that have been cremated, the remains, ashes and the bones. That is 舍利者. It's not some nice looking bright crystal or something like that. No, it's a Chinese idea only. Yeah, but you see nowadays, a lot of things that are practiced in the name of Buddhism is just tradition, customs and all that. Recently, I attended official opening of a stupa, and there the senior monk says that a monastery is not a monastery without a stupa. That's only his later opinion. It's not the Buddha's opinion. Just like some people say, how can Vihara Buddha Gautama have no Buddha statue? How can you have a temple without a Buddha statue? And I say, during the Buddha's time, all the monasteries had no statue. We are trying to practice original Buddhism, true Buddhism, not all that tradition handed down. Okay, shall we end here?